Hey guys, welcome to the web show on kind of a debate about realistic war games. This is Voices in Your Head live from your mom's basement, and we are gonna hopefully get some good gameplay going here. Hopefully more people, well actually anyone, joins this conversation, this debate about realistic war games and what you guys think about them. So we will see how things go. All right. Anyways, what is this new stuff, man? I get on this Battlefield 1 game and they come up with like all this random new stuff that I'm trying to figure out now. I don't even know. So, yeah, whatever. We'll just have some fun stuff. Anyways, so there was supposed to be a couple people hopefully here helping me out. That didn't happen. However, we was going to talk about, kind of debate like 3 games that are possibly fairly realistic. I mean, is for what we know now is what games can do and things. Those games would be Call of Duty games, which recently they've gotten kind of futuristic and weird. Although the newest one's supposed to go World War II, I guess, right? Let's see what we got going on here. Alright, and then Battlefield 1, which is what I'm playing right now, if you guys don't know Battlefield. Which I'm a huge fan of Battlefield. And then my other friend actually he really enjoys the game of World of Tanks. And so those were the 3 that we were going to debate tonight. And I will try and hit points and thoughts on all of them and whatnot. We'll see how things go, alright? Anyways, we got, we'll start out with COD. Call of Duty, alright? Call of Duty is, I will say right now, a very, very casual game, alright? It's basically a game for anyone and everyone to jump in and play, like real super easy. Be able to, you know, get kills and have fun, just run around and shoot people. That's kind of what that game's about. And I'm not gonna lie, they do a pretty good job at it.
Ammunition for you.
Is definitely a well done game in that aspect. I will say though, I am more of a competitive person, and in a competitive stance, I feel that Call of Duty does not compete against real competitive games. Granted, it's got a competitive market and everything. There's a lot of people who play it. Not for me at all. It's a lot of runs, spraying, and shooting.
We have lost objective Charlie.
Not really a lot of good skill in that game. However, the realistic point of that game is, I mean, your peoples. It's more on a level of scale that you can relate to. Oh crud! I got sniped. Ugh. But you can relate to, like, you can see it as kind of realistic, alright? Now, granted, I'm sure when they first designed Call of Duty, they was thinking of, like, trying to make it kind of realistic. But when it comes to games, it's hard to do because people aren't necessarily, how we put it, strategical, and we don't have to worry about dying, alright, because usually you just respawn, right? Oh. And so there's a lot of things that people do that isn't normally the norm, you know? It's kind of like a bunch of ISIS people or something running around, right? I mean, no offense to them, but it is what it is.
We are losing objective apples.
Anyways, so you got the COD game. Oh, wait.
That ammo's got your name on it.
We have
This-
taken objective butter.
No, he's got a shotgun. Alright, so people run around a lot in Call of Duty because it's quick, easy, and simple, right? People don't gotta worry about dying, so they run around, they just put shots everywhere. People are impatient when it comes to games. They really are. And they want to run around, they want to get to the action, and I don't blame them. I'm kind of the same way. I don't like to sit there and camp. Now, granted, there are those people who sit there and camp and everything else, and that's wonderful. Although a lot of times that doesn't really help your team. Now, I am getting a little bit off of a tangent here because I have my little how you say it, pet peeves I don't like, and camping's one of them. Anyways, yeah, more in real life though, people tend to run around as a squad, run around as a team. COD, you don't really have that unless you are playing on like a really high level of gamers. Like professional players on COD. And so, I mean, it's possible to play it a little bit more realistic, more strategic. But the game itself, like, it's got good guns that you can relate to, guns that are realistic for the most part. And they tried to get unique with them, with all the attachments and all that fun jazz. Alright. So there's COD for you.
We are losing objective Charlie.
As for World of Tanks, World of Tanks, I'm not sure where he came up with the idea that World of Tanks is very, very realistic. I'm getting annihilated this match. I haven't played Battlefield for a little while. Anyways, World of Tanks, he, my guess is he loves the whole team aspect, as soon as you die, you're out for the round. Like, you're dead, you're done.
We have taken
Right?
objective
You don't
Charlie.
respawn, until the next round and whatnot. And,
We have taken objective.
oh, get wrecked! Ah, that was almost a triple. So anyways, World of Tanks, yeah, you die once, you're dead for the round. Alright? I'm sure he likes the team base aspect to that game, which is actually pretty nice. If you're playing with a good team, you can do some pretty interesting stuff to it. But my thought is, how often do you see a bunch of tanks running around and like no infantry, no air support, like is just straight up tanks just because? I'm not sure how that is all that realistic. I'm not impressed by World of Tanks. In fact, I actually played it for quite a good while, and basically you start out with like the worst tanks in the game. Alright, pretty much. Like, you have to upgrade 2 good tanks. And now if you try and jump into World of Tanks, you got these really bad tanks that you gotta operate. You against all these other people who's got really good tanks, and odds are you're not really gonna survive. And even then, actually, even if you do get shots on people, like the caliber of bullets that those crappy tanks have are not good at all. And so half the time you're shooting shots at these other tanks and the bullets like constantly ricochet and they like don't do any damage, and they'll like one shot you and you're dead, kind of thing. It's just awful. So you gotta fight through that grind and everything else. And yeah, the maps are pretty big, which are nice. However, the maps are also really corny, cheesy looking. Like, it's not at all good graphics whatsoever. I'm not impressed by graphics at all in World of Tanks, and I'm sorry, we've kind of hit the age where, I mean, I understand some games, you know, they have to have like a visual art to them that makes them kind of cool and whatnot, depending on the game and things like that, which I can respect that, you know, there's a reason for it, okay? And I understand that not every game designer can have like the best artwork, because although there is a lot of talented artists out there, so I don't know, it's all in how much money you want to spend on it and everything. But you can't play that game expecting good graphics when the mechanics are actually not all that great either. I mean, they're alright, they're not awful, but they're not amazing either. So where my friend thought World of Tanks was gonna be like a really realistic game, I don't know, because even when you shoot in World of Tanks, it doesn't even puncture any holes in the ground or nothing. Like, you can destroy some buildings and you can hit tanks, and then when you hit tanks, like if you hit them in the treads, you can knock out their treads and whatnot. You can and then they have to wait and repair them. Although, like, little infantry guys don't run around and repair them, you just have to wait. And then after a while, it'll just repair by itself. Like, really? So, I'm really not sure how that's supposed to be a realistic game, but that's what he was gonna say was realistic. That guy is camping so hardcore. Alright, and then we got Battlefield 1, which
We are losing objective.
Battlefield 1 was like the game I picked to be the most realistic, alright? This is my choice, which is why I am playing Battlefield 1 right now. And even then, I'm actually not that impressed about Battlefield 1 as I was with Battlefield 4. Like, Battlefield 4 is just more, how do we say it, modern day. And with it being so modern day, I could relate to it a lot more. I could see it. But Battlefield 1 is the newest Battlefield, and it's got good history to it, so I'll give them props for Battlefield 1. They actually did a really good job. And see these holes in the ground? See, I can throw a grenade, except I'm out of grenades. And when my grenade blows up, it will actually reform the land to like a nade blowing up the ground. It's pretty darn amazing. They thought of so much effects to this game. It's insane. Yeah, let's see if I can get this guy. He's gonna come out. I know he is. No, he's just gonna camp in there the whole time, huh? I know you're in there, buddy. Red! Too bad my teammate died. Oh, there's more people here. And not to mention, you always have so much stuff going on. Like, it feels like you're on a battlefield. It feels like there's hundreds of guys, tons of bullets flying everywhere. You can play this game with like 64 people online playing against each other. So 32 on 32, and you start throwing them in areas, and it just,
available near your location.
when you start getting to choke points and things, it is so difficult to make moves and do things. And then on top of that, you got squads. Squads is, so I don't know if you saw earlier when I started the game and whatnot. If you don't know much about Battlefield 1, squads, you can run with like a team of 5. Even though you're playing on a team with like up to like 32 people, you specifically play on squads because you can't have 32 people running around yelling at each other and making callouts, okay? So you actually get a commander making overall callouts to you. But the squads is so that you can more focus on what your squad is doing. Your squad can focus on making callouts and making plays and making specific pushes for the overall team. And then the commanders can sit there and guide people in where he wants people to be. Oh, naded. Not to mention, like, the demolition in this game is probably the best demolition. Battlefield 4 was pretty amazing with demolition. Like, you could blow up big, tall, like, skyscrapers or bridges or dams and whatnot, and it would change the map. And it would do damage as these buildings, tall skyscrapers and dams would flood the map. You know, it would just change the game to a whole new level, a whole new way of looking at it. So then you're also thinking, hey, do I want to destroy this? Or do I want to, you know, try and keep it as is and make pushes in place to how I want?
We have taken objective apples.
So you can work with your team and hold off these 3 different points and whatnot very effectively if you're working together as a team. Granted, I'm not really doing that because I'm more in this chat and the rest of my teammates didn't jump in here, which I'll kick them in the face later, alright? I get after them, it's fun.
We have taken objective
so,
butter.
I don't know. Battlefield 1 is a fantastic game. It's like the best realistic game that you can have, at least out there right now, as much as I see. If you guys know of anything else that you want to debate about a realistic war game, alright, I am more interested. I am more than happy to hear your suggestions on what games that you guys think is the most realistic. Alright.
Here, pressure money, John.
I want to hear your response, your ideas and things, what leads you to what you believe. Alright, this is what I believe. Not to mention also in Battlefield, it's not just this infantry gameplay at all. When you're playing other game modes, you can actually get tanks, you can get horses, you can get little vehicles and buggies. I believe I said tanks. You can also get airplanes, for crying out loud. The fact that you can get airplanes in this game takes this complete Battlefield to a whole nother level.
We have lost objective apples.
Oh crap. Oh, we traded. No, that guy got me. Dang it. Takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, then you got airplanes, air support flying around. Then on this game, if you are losing like terribly bad, not in this mode, but in other modes, if you are losing terribly bad, depending on the map, you can actually get like big heavy vehicles. So on this map, if you see these train tracks here, a big train comes and just wreaks havoc, and you can have several of your players on this train just annihilating the other team to try and make a huge comeback. Other maps, you get like a big blimp, and the people can blow. The other enemy team can blow up these
We have taken objective apples.
big deadly weapons per se, and when the blimp crashes, the blimp falls from the sky and crash lands, and everything that gets hit by it dies, or it crushes buildings and does massive damage on the playing field. Another one is a big battleship, which that one I believe is only on one map. I could be wrong, could be on a few more, but hey, Battlefield, they've added so much to it in the aspect of being realistic as much as possible. Granted, however, it's a game, alright, and people are going to play games
We are losing
not
objective
so
apples.
realistically, as you have noticed me running around and dying a lot, respawning, and just kind of running out in the open at times
have
and
lost objective
just doing
apples.
whatever, having fun. Alright, that's what these games are about. Even if you aren't the best shot, you've got attachments
We have taken
and
objective
abilities that each class can do. Which was kind of back in the day. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit more limited, more down to 4 specific classes. So this one I can drop ammo crates for teammates. You know, I can run around, be a support. Oh, he shot me. What a big meanie head. So, Battlefield is a great war game, hands down in my opinion. It beats COD, beats World of Tanks
We
for
have taken
being
objective
realistic.
apples.
And just the feel of it, of looking at a bigger scale of helping the team. It's an amazing game, and if you guys want this amazing game, go ahead, hit me up. I'll play Battlefield
We have
with you
lost
guys
objective apples.
almost any time, mostly on gaming with viewer days, right? But I love Battlefield 1. A lot of fun. In fact, I've got every single achievement for this game, except for the DLC. Did not get the DLC because DLC in my previous game review, not a big fan of DLC. I think it's a ripoff
We have taken objective apples.
to a lot of people. I hear footsteps. Oh, snap, 90. Had 10 health. What a jerk. So, as of now, I don't really support games. Well, I don't necessarily usually pay for DLC. I got a good solid game for 60 bucks, and I can do many things with this game. I miss out on a little bit of content, different maps, but it's
We are
not a
losing
big deal.
objective apples.
Oh snap, shirt.
We have
Get
taken
wrecked,
objective
sniper.
Ich werf dir Granate. Frische Munition.
Oh, that dude scared the snot out of me. Oh, crud. Oh, what a clutch play, and then I got wrecked by the other guy. 1 health, are you kidding me? He killed me with 1 health. That's amazing. What's up?
are losing objective Charlie. We have lost objective
Anyways.
apples.
You wanna watch something? You're really. Oh.
We have lost objective. We have taken objective apples.
Alright, well, I'm almost done here. I'm almost done.
Ich werf eine Granate, aufpassen! Hier ist Munition.
Oh, are you kidding me? I had to jump on both of those guys. There's 3 of them there.
We are losing objective apples.
Got him. I got him. He blew up to
We have
Timbuktu.
lost objective apples.
Oh, he's dead. Oh, you know.
Munition für dich.
Holy crap. No. No. Getting shot from everywhere. You're making a play.
Hat jemand
We
Munition
are
bestellt?
losing objective Charlie.
Oh, so glad. By the way, if you guys want to know
We have
why
lost
you
objective
might
Charlie.
not be such a good aimer on first-person shooters, a big problem a lot of people have is they like playing on the big screen TVs, by the way, which is what I'm doing right now. If you
We have
want to
taken
amp
objective
up
apples.
your aiming in any first-person shooter
We
game,
have taken objective Charlie.
the way to go is actually a smaller TV. It sounds a little ridiculous and whatnot because you're like, hey, but I can see a whole lot more. I can see people from long distances. I can.
We have lost objective apples.
They're not like little pixels on my screen, right? Well, with a big screen TV,
We have
you
lost
actually
objective
have
Charlie.
a lot more information that your brain has to deal with, which then in turn you actually have slower reflexes as well.
We have taken objective apples.
So with slower reflexes and such fast movements on the battlefield, in games like this or my specific game like Halo, your reflexes are actually a little bit slower because your brain's trying to process more information per se. I'm gonna maybe die.
We have taken objective Charlie.
And so if you have more information, your reflexes are slower. With a smaller TV, you can actually, once you get used to it, your brain will actually pick up those small little details that shouldn't normally be there, like if you're trying to
We
spot
have lost
people
objective apples.
and whatnot. So it flows and works very well. You have much faster reflexes with a smaller TV. Do a whole lot more.
We have taken
And
objective
so then in
Butter.
turn, your accuracy, your crosshairs, can actually keep up with your enemy's movements a lot easier. Now granted, you don't want
Sentry
like a
kit is available
super
near
small
your
TV,
location.
but my perfect size would probably
We
be,
are winning.
what, 24 inch? I think
have lost
is
objective
about
Charlie.
a good size. Oh, get wrecked! Give me back A.
We have taken objective apples.
Oh, this was C I was taking back. Oh, snap. Dude, that guy got wrecked by that sniper on our team.
We have lost
Munition,
objective
greif zu!
apples.
No! He got me. Let's do this. Come on, we should win this. No problem.
Ich werfe eine Granate!
Grenade in there. You're taking A. Wow, he's got 2 nades. 2 nades. Oh yeah, grenade launcher, that's why. Makes sense.
We are losing objective Charlie.
So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that follow button on Mixer.
We have
Mixer.com,
lost objective Charlie.
ITZ_MOP_UP_MARV. So it'll say Mixer.com/It's Mop Up Marv, just like my gamer tag. Also,
We have taken
you
objective
can find us
Butter.
on YouTube. You can hit that subscribe button there. YouTube is Voices in Your Head. So check those out, guys. Follow them, subscribe them. Thoroughly appreciate it. I do want to do a whole lot more with these videos. I have a whole lot more ideas to make gaming and watching games so much more enjoyable, guys. And I really hope that you help me out, because if you help me out, I can help you guys out. So anyways, I am out. Once again, this is Voices in Your Head. We are leaving your mom's basement now. Adios.